Hello there. Welcome back to Thriving Generation with Dr. G. Today is another exciting day and a good day to thrive. Today we are having a conversation with a thriving brother who took chances on his passion and now he's making an impact in his country. Please join me for this conversation with Mr. Prince Appiah. Let's enjoy. Uncle Prince. Should I call you Uncle Prince, Mr. Prince, Dr. Prince, Journalist Prince? Please, what's your title? Just tell me.
Oh, just Prince. Prince is okay. Mr. Prince, Mr. Appiah. It's
Hey.
okay.
Okay. Mr. Appiah.
Oh, Prince is cool. Prince is cool.
Prince is cool, eh? Okay. Prince, welcome to Thriving Generation. Could you please introduce yourself to us?
Okay. First and foremost, I should say that I'm happy to be here and happy for you to have had me for this particular conversation. I'm Prince Appiah, as you just said, and I'm from a family of four. I'm the second boy of two boys and two girls. And it's not a very small family, but I'm so much into the extended family because I have moved around a bit. And that is it. I was born in Tema. I'm currently in Kumasi because of work. I came because of school and I'm working here in Kumasi. And so that's for introduction, if that's okay.
Yes, it is more than okay. Thank you so much. So, can you tell us a little bit about your work? Sometimes we see Joy Business, we see Joy Prime. Are they different things, or are they under the same umbrella? Tell us a little bit.
Okay, so and it's under the multimedia group, and I work with the multimedia group. But of course, we have a lot of wings. I'm in the Kumasi unit, and the Kumasi unit has two stations: the Insure FM and Love FM. The Love FM is the English brand, and the Insure FM is the Tree brand. I work with Love FM, which is the English brand, but as part of our policy, we call something convergence. We work for all the wings of the multimedia group. And so Joy News, which is the TV branch, Joy FM, which is the radio in Accra, Adum FM, also radio in Accra, Adum TV, which is the Akan version of the TV in Accra. We work for all of them. But I produce stories basically for Joy Business, which is also part of the Joy News brand. And the Joy Business, as the name suggests, is directed at producing stories in the area of business, agribusiness, and the likes. And so I produce a lot of stories in that area because currently I head the business decks at Love FM in Kumasi. So per that, I produce a lot of stories in that area for Joy Business and sometimes for Joy News. And so that is why you sometimes see Joy News, you sometimes see Joy Business. And of course, because of convergence, our stories go to Joy FM as well. So that is about that.
Amazing. Thank you so much. So we would like to know your specialty in the journalism space, or is it your area of focus? What do you do for them? I know you are doing something unique, and I would like for you to share with all of us.
You can call it specialty or focus. I started off doing the general news, and at a point in time, my editor in charge of business decided to bring me close to him because we're all doing everything. And he felt that I had a background in business, so I can help out. So I developed the interest in reporting on business issues. But over time, that urge to do stuff in the area of agric came because right from the beginning, my dad had a backyard farm. And so we used to go to the farm, you see the thing he does there. At the beginning, we didn't really know what we were doing, but that interest was there. And as I decided to pursue journalism, and when I started doing the business, I realized there's that area of agribusiness and agriculture reporting in there. So I developed that interest as well. And my boss, Kofi Donfe, is a climate reporter and an
Okay.
environmental reporter. So he kind of roped me in there, and I also
Okay.
developed the interest in that area. So for some time now, that is the area that I thrive most: environmental reporting, climate change, and agriculture reporting.
Mm.
Yes. So that's my area
Mhm.
of specialty,
Yeah.
basically.
So have you always been interested in journalism, or did you just chance on it along the way?
Yes, I've always said that for me, I've been very much lucky. Um, as the saying goes, man proposes, God disposes. I
Hmm.
always have some plan for my life, but it turns out to be something different. I never planned to be a journalist. I
Mm.
chanced on it. And so back in the university, a friend of mine, Benjamin, he had been given a chance to do something on Focus FM. And so he's been a friend right from the GHS. So
Mhm.
he went there, he was thriving, and the program was nice. There's a program called Campus Filler,
Okay.
but he started making money from there. And so he came, told me that, hey, this is what is happening, Charlie. It's Kawumu. And he was actually mimicking those from the Volta region, and that was the accent he was using on the show. And
Okay.
back in JHS, we used to do that a lot. He can do that. I can also do it. We can mimic those coming from those from the north. We can mimic a lot of tribes, and then do a lot of stuff with that. And so he told the producer that he has a friend who is also good in that area, and so
Mm.
he wants to bring him along. Then I went, I met him. Then I had to decide. So I had to mimic someone coming from the northern region. And then the two of us together, we started the show. It
Okay.
was interesting. So for 2 years, I was doing that, and most of my classmates didn't know I was the one doing that on radio. I was disguising myself basically, but
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed it for the
Mm.
period that it lasted. I really enjoyed it, and so doing that, after 2 years doing that campus filler, it was time for us to do attachment, as
Okay.
compulsory attachment with our department. And because I was pursuing publishing studies, I'm supposed to go to a publishing house or a printing house. That's the norm.
Okay.
But I felt that no, I have developed this interest in radio, so why not, try a radio station? But our department didn't allow that. And they felt that that is not part of the program structure. You should go to a printing house or a publishing house. But
Okay.
myself and two other colleagues, we insisted. We came to the radio station, Love FM, brought our letter, told them this is what we wanted to do. Would
Yeah.
they, take us? And they said they don't take attachment students, but um, we were lucky enough. The HR was a publishing student. She saw us. We
Mm.
explained our stuff to her, and we laughed about it. She told us why we wanted to do it. We said, "Oh, and though it is publishing, this one is electronic publishing," and she laughed about it. That is all electronic publishing, and
Mm-hmm.
so we still wanted to do the attachments in a radio station, and then we were picked. Then it
Okay.
started. Yeah, so over a period of time, we did the radio thing, did attachment, went back to school. We struggled because our teachers, our lecturers were not happy about the fact that we came to a radio station instead of
Okay.
us going to a publishing house and a printing house. But
Mm.
we had to face them through the Viva, explain ourselves and all that. We didn't fail in that course. We passed though, but it was very difficult. We had to convince them. And from there, we opened the floodgates. And as I speak to you, now a lot of students from that department are allowed to go to the radio stations and TV stations to do their internship because of us.
Because of
And
that.
and from there it started. I finished the internship. The managers and my editor was like, "Oh, the two of us, we did so well. We can come back at any time." A long vacation, we came back, tried our hands on some of the stuff. We developed so much interest. We became better at what we were doing. And then afterwards, national service, they asked us we can come back. We came back, did our national service, and boom, started working here. So I turned on it, and it was divine, I should say.
Amazing. That is so wonderful. I mean, we all have our plans, and
Yeah,
sometimes we want to stick with the plan and not take
yeah.
opportunities that come around. So it's a great story to hear. And I've seen you receive several awards. Can you talk about some of the awards you've been receiving and some of the places you've been traveling to?
Yes, it's been amazing. So as I said, man proposes, God disposes. God has His own plans for us. I've never been to a journalism school. I've never sat in any journalism class. Everything I learned on the job and from my superiors, Kofi Donfe, Said Ali Yakub, and the rest. So in 2017, my first award was an international award. I got shortlisted among 12 young journalists below the age 30 in the world. I got shortlisted in the final 12. I couldn't make it to the final 5. The final 5 were sent to the UK to receive the award, but I was shortlisted in the final 12 and we got certificate of recognition. And that was my first award and first international award. That was in 2017. In 2018, I was adjudged the overall best journalist in the Ashanti region. That was the maiden edition of the award. I think I had about five main awards, and I had 5 other second place awards. So I was overall best. And then in 2019, by virtue of my love for agric, I was also adjudged the best agric journalist in Ghana. That is for 2020. For 2019, best agric journalist for 2019. Then I had another international award by the International Federation of Agric Journalists, and I was adjudged one of the 10 journalists in the world for being promising in the area of agric leadership, agric journalism leadership as well. So that took me to the US of A, and that's where I came to receive the awards. We met, if you remember.
We did. We did.
So I came to receive the award. I had opportunity to be part of a boot camp as well in the US in the area of leadership. And it was amazing. And I think in 2020, I was also recognized. I was given a special recognition award by the IFAJ, International Federation of Agric Journalists, in the area of audio radio reporting as well. And so that's the few that I can remember.
Wow. It's just amazing. And you've never been to the School of Journalism?
Never.
It's just been out of passion and out of hard work.
Exactly.
We really admire your hard work. And I know that agric or agro-journalism is a bit new, right? Is it a common specialty? Because somebody may be wondering, I haven't heard anything about this before. Can you tell us a little about what you do in terms of agro-journalism?
Okay, so basically, I wouldn't say it's new, but it's not an area that a lot of people are interested in because people feel it is not, quote unquote, it's not sexy enough. Yes, and so people are interested and driven towards the sports journalism, driven towards the politics, basically, and the general news. But agri-journalism looks at everything around the agriculture, area. We are looking at things around food security. We are looking at agribusiness, everything that puts food on the table. So we are looking at farm to fork and everything in that space. Um, we capture them under agri-journalism. And so basically that's what I would say. But I think I see it as one of the very critical aspects of our living because without food, our, our sustainability is threatened. And
Yes.
so, working in that space opens your eye to a lot of things and um, it gives you that fulfillment that you are contributing to the real deal of sustainable development
Yeah.
in the little space that you find yourself. And so it's an interesting space, not too sexy. People don't really like getting into that space, but I'm enjoying it
Yeah, we can see that.
Yeah.
We can see that. It's obvious that you are enjoying your space. So, Prince, there may be people watching us and they are thinking, wow, this guy, he's doing great. Has it always been easy for him? But I think we have to know the full story, right? Can you share with us some of the challenges you faced along the way and how you were able to overcome them?
Okay, so there's been so much challenges. First, as I said, I've never been to a journalism school, and so understanding the rudiments of the journalism profession wasn't easy. I had to learn on the job. So I remember one time I was asked to go report on teacher training. There was this situation where teacher trainees had bought admission to training colleges and they were struggling to get admission. Most of them, they had paid for the admissions, but they were struggling to get in. And it was a big news in the country. And so I was asked to go and report. I went to the one of the principals of one of the schools. I already mentioned the name. I got there in the morning. The man asked me why I'm there. I told him everything. Then he started insulting me. Like, is this the only job you can do? You wake up early in the morning and come to my school and you want to talk about what is happening here. There are a lot of things going around you. How is this important? Why do you want to talk about this? People are not serious. You should find a better job to do with this. These things you do. He insulted me from head to toe, and I was so down. I didn't know what I've done wrong. I just asked a harmless question. I just presented my reason of coming there, and then he started insulting me. One, I didn't get a story. Two, I couldn't record anything. I came back to the office. I explained to my editor, and what he had to tell me was that it's part of the job. It kind of brought my spirits down, but after I had that encouragement from my editor, I realized that, of course, it's part of the job, and you tend to experience some of those things. And there's another incident. There was this demonstration close to a community called Kenyase. I was asked to go there to go and report the story, and immediately I got there, the demonstration turned out to be a different thing, and it was rubber bullets. The police were there, started shooting, people got hurt, and I was running for my life. And at that point, I felt, why did I even choose to do journalism when there are a lot of professions around that I could have chosen from? And it was so much hurting because I saw people bleeding at that point, and I felt so much down. I came back to the office. I remember during that period, I had vowed in my head that I might not continue with this profession, but I had encouragement from my editors, and I had to live to pursue the story, continue the profession, try to be a better version of myself
Yeah.
And that has brought me here. There are a lot of challenges along the line, especially trying to get stories from people. Sometimes you get to a point you have to put yourself in the shoes of the people you want to um, do a story on. And sometimes it's difficult because they are in such a terrible situation. You might even get emotional and you can break down in that space, but your job must be done. And those kind of times, very, very difficult. You might not do your work well, but you have to. And those kind of challenges are there. I remember when I got into the space for the first week or so, there was this gentleman who told me journalism doesn't pay, journalism is not good, it's for persons who don't really know what to do with their lives. And so he doesn't understand why someone coming from the university, I want to get into that space. He seriously discouraged me from getting into the space. And those are some of the challenges you face. People
Yeah.
feel that journalism is for persons who are unintelligent, school dropouts, and so they tend to see you in a certain way until they read your credentials and they see educational background, and then you understand that really this person is better off than what you perceive the person to be. And so those are some of the challenges that readily comes to mind.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing, because my next question was going to be about acceptance. You went to school for publishing studies. I don't know what you were going to do with that though. And then you decided to go into journalism. Did the family easily accept that? How was it for you and your family?
Okay, so it was at the initial stages very difficult. My dad didn't understand what I was trying to do. Okay, so in the time he felt it was a stopgap, and I had explained to him that yes, it's a stopgap. I'm doing it for a while. It's fetching me money at that stage. I was right after school, so it is fetching me some money. So I'm just doing it for a while. Then I'll move on to, because I really wanted to do a business.
Okay.
I wanted to do business administration. I had plans of teaching at a higher level,
Okay.
because I've taught right after school, so I love teaching people. I wanted to pursue that at a higher level as well. So I had that plan. I wanted to I had plan. I still have the plan to, pursue a PhD, become a doctor. I wanted to become a medical doctor. If I'm unable to become a medical doctor, then I would have to be called a doctor. I need a title as a doctor. So
Goodness,
I
we are
have
in trouble. So we are the second option. We are the second
so
option.
yeah, so as I said, I always have my plans, but God tend to push me around, and I still come back to it though. And so that was the plan. And my dad knew from the beginning. He always knew. He knew my books have always write doctor in front of my name and my books and all that. So he was not so much initially happy about it. He was confused, but I just told him it's a stopgap, and he was like, okay, then do your thing. And yes, I've done it for a while, and he sees the successes, and he's happy. Sometimes he sees you on TV, and he talks to his friends, he call you, I saw you here, and all that he's happy about. He learned to receive some awards here and there. He's happy about it, but initially he wasn't so happy about, convinced about the path. But now he's accepted it. Yes.
Great, great. Thank you, Daddy, for accepting it. So, Prince, what has been the highlight of your career? Can you share that with us?
So in 2018, it always comes back to me at any point in time when I'm trying to reflect on the things I've done so far. I had opportunity to travel to Burkina Faso. So I was myself and a colleague, Asensu Mensah, we were producing the story on tomatoes, looking at how Ghanaian women traders are traveling to Burkina Faso, a landlocked country, to bring tomatoes into Ghana. Though we have the beautiful land, fertile lands that can cultivate tomatoes. But we didn't really understand why Ghanaians were traveling to Burkina Faso to bring in tomatoes. So we embarked on that journey. We went to the north, we did some interviews, and we realized that the Burkina Faso economy and the Burkina Faso agriculture system was different from what was happening in Ghana. So we had to travel to Burkina. And embarking on that journey was interesting because we had only planned to go there for a day.
Okay.
So we went there, our plan, our dress, we only had one, dress for a day, so we will come back. We went in there with the Tomato Association, and the interesting thing is that the first time we entered, the security men wouldn't allow us in.
Okay.
Now they impounded our vehicle. They asked that they realized that they asked whether we were journalists. Then we said no. Because when they realized we were journalists, you have cameras, they will not allow you in.
Okay.
And so our driver who was taking us had to lie that we were not journalists. So these people came into the vehicles to search the vehicle to see if they would get anything relating to journalists, cameras in there. And we had to hide this stuff, and it was a crazy moment. It was so much pressure on us, so much tension, so much fear, because anything could happen. If they capture you, they realize that you have this equipment, they will just put you behind bars, and that the claim is an offense. But we know it's not an offense, but the claim is an offense, and we managed to go through that space. We got in there. We encountered some tomato farmers whose vehicle had been damaged. We encountered some who had been beaten by some of these traders on the way, extorting all their monies from them. And it was difficult. The interesting thing is that they were speaking French and Mosi, so we had to get a translator to be part of us, to be doing the translation and all that. And it was scary because we didn't even know if he was really doing the right translation or not, because the fear was that they might sell you out.
Yeah.
You're not part of them and all that. And it was crazy. We had to go to the hinterlands. It was supposed to be one day, became 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. We had to spend 5 days in Burkina Faso. One clothing. We didn't have anything. We didn't have enough money on us. It was crazy. Anytime I want to reflect on what I've done so far, that trip brings back a lot of emotions, because immediately after that story was aired, we had responses from the Greek ministry. Government started mediating with them. The ECOWAS came in to start the mediation, and it was interesting. That story got me the award in the States and got me the best Agro-Journalist in Ghana. And anytime I want to reflect on what I've done as a journalist, that particular story comes really in mind. And I should say that story was also not planned. It was just to visit the tomato traders in Pualugu, northern Ghana, just do a story and come back. And when we realized that it was bigger than what we thought it was, we came back to Kumasi. Then we went back and we had to go through that situation. And so, and that is that. It's been an interesting journey.
Interesting story. So we will put the link to the story in the description so that people can watch the story for themselves.
Yeah, most definitely.
That is great. That is great. So what would you recommend the right partner should be if somebody is interested in journalism? Is there a recommendation for academics? Should you take this particular course, go through this particular program to get to this point? What would you say?
So for me, I think the best thing is for you to have a profession.
Okay.
As a specialized, area that you're very much good at, are very much skilled at.
Okay.
Then you add journalism to it. It makes you a perfect and the best at at what you do as a journalist. And so, for example, if you are an economist, I believe that you should pursue economics to the higher level. Then you train as a journalist in addition, and that makes you a very good journalist, I believe. So I always try to advise anybody that comes in my path that wants to pursue journalism that yes, if you have the space and time to, you have less opportunities, or if you have the opportunity to go through journalism school straight from a senior high school and become a journalist, that's fine. But I feel that it is best when you are a professional in a certain field, you are a medical doctor, and then you train as a journalist in addition to it, you become great because you understand the rudiments of the medical profession and the medical journalism, and you become the best at it. You understand the jargons, you understand the space well, you know things that must go out, you know how to break down the bigger jargons, the big words to the ordinary person to understand. So if you're physics, if you're a biological scientist, you pursue it to the highest level, then add journalism to it. If you're agricultural economist, same thing. And so that's what I advise. But of course, there are others who come straight through the journalism training and they come out and they are also very good. But statistically, those who have separate professions and get trained as journalists are better. They are better journalists. We've seen it over time than those who go through the journalism training alone. But of course, that is also a good part. We've seen great journalists coming through that side. But for me, that's how I feel. And from my observation, I think that makes you the perfect and the best at what you do.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So there may be people who have started, but they are struggling along the way, or they want to be famous and they are not yet. Talk to us, the thriving generation, anybody wanting to pursue journalism or even any other goal that they are struggling with. What do you say to us?
Okay, so my message is very simple. No situation is permanent. And so if you find yourself in any situation that is pushing you down, it's dampening your spirit, you find it's very difficult to get out of, understand in your head that no situation is permanent, there will be a time that circumstances will end. And so you prepare for that particular point. You prepare for the better days ahead. And try as much as possible to create opportunities out of those situations. Try and see the spark in the dark. Try and identify the light in that darkness. And that is it. Don't despair. There's always hope. You know that the situation is not permanent, and you plan towards the big victory that awaits you. And so that is it. If you're struggling to go through it, just keep on doing it, but understand that will not continue forever. It will definitely come to pass. And so prepare for the better days ahead. That will be my message.
Thank you so much. It's a good message. We receive it. Awesome. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for everything you are doing for the nation. Keep thriving, keep moving. And we out here, we are looking at what you are doing and we appreciate you so much.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me. I'm so happy to have been here to share my story. Not so much of an interesting story, but I'm glad I was able to share it, and I hope that those who listen or watch would also learn one or two things from it. That is a very important part of conversations like this. The little impact we have on people's lives. And I'm happy I could share in this particular journey. thriving generation. Thank you very much.
Amazing. So you out there watching us, if you have questions for Prince, please leave them in the comments below. If you want clarification or anything, I will put his socials in the description box. You can reach out to him directly. But most importantly, let us know what you learned from this conversation. We want to hear from you and we want to learn from you. If you've stayed with us to this very point, we say thank you for staying to the end. But please consider subscribing if you haven't done so already, and share the video with others and let them learn too. Thank you once again and see you in the next video. Bye.